Welcome to Cash Grab. This is the podcast where we look through different franchises that have been turned into video games and make the decision if they're cash grabs or not. I'm Steph.
And I am Tom.
Yeah. And once again,
we're
Adamless.
Oh, all by ourselves.
Just the two of us.
Oh dear.
So it turned out that Hercules on the Game Boy Color is proving more trouble than Adam thought.
Apparently the development process is actually monumental for a Game Boy Color. Who woulda thunk?
Yeah. So he's not here.
No.
Sadly.
But luckily...
Hopefully he'll be back soon.
I'm sure he will, but luckily we know that due to his extended time away, it goes without saying that Hercules for the Game Boy Color will be a masterpiece.
Oh, of course it will be, yeah.
Yep.
There's none of this No Man's Sky business going on here.
No, not at all.
It's going to be perfect.
It's going to come out. It's not going to need a day one patch like most Game Boy Color games.
Every Game Boy Color game had a day one patch.
Every single fucking one. I mean, it was ridiculous. And you know what the worst thing about it was? Couldn't even access the internet to get the day one patch.
No.
How foolish of them.
It was stupid.
So Adam's taken an extra week or so to make sure that this game is to everyone's playing pleasure as soon as it's released.
Just like Final Fantasy 15, which then got delayed, so it didn't have a day one patch, which had a day one patch.
It did, didn't it? I forgot about that.
Yeah, so maybe he's going to do that.
How long was it delayed in the end? It was delayed like months, wasn't it?
Well, the game was like 10 years in development or something.
That's true. It's like Terminator. Which Terminator took like 10 years to actually finally come out? Was it Terminator 3?
What film?
Is the gap between 2 and 3 like 10 years? It is, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Because it's like late 90s, and then it was like
early
late noughties.
2000s?
Yeah.
Or late 2000s?
Late 2000s. As soon as you said it, I was like, it's about 10 years, and you're like, early 2000s. I was like,
that's not quite 10 years.
I was like, that's 3 years.
Well, we differ on how long 10 years is, mate.
That is true. Some might say it's a blink of an eye.
Mm.
Anyway, we should probably stop talking shit and get on to the fact that today is a very special day because we are both studying a film and game that are revered as some of the best film and game ever.
Well, we picked it, not knowing that the game was put in. Was it Game Radar? Game Radar's.
Yeah.
Game Radar's 2014's top 100 worst games of all time. Yeah. We didn't realise that till after we played it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be.
It became quite apparent whilst playing it.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
And we'll get to that. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll clearly see what we're talking about.
You'll see that when we get there. So, go on, do you want to introduce what we're talking about?
We today are speaking about The Crow.
The Crow.
Ooh, The Crow. So basically, The Crow initially was a graphic novel.
Yes.
Written by, hang on just a sec, it was written by James O'Barr. And
have you ever read the graphic novel?
Just about to say, never read it.
Did you know it was a graphic novel?
I didn't. But the thing is, I didn't, but I had my suspicions. It's the type of thing that it doesn't seem like it would just be in development for film straight away. Do you know what I mean? It's quite clearly taken from something.
Yeah. It's adapted from something else.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I knew it was adapted from a graphic novel, but I'd never wished to read it.
No? It's meant to be good, though, the graphic novel.
Is it? I mean, it might be, but
the thing is,
there's nothing pushing me to read it.
No, that's true. I mean, the thing is, I imagine the graphic novel was somewhat successful for it to be turned into a film.
Yeah, it must have been, yeah.
Yeah. So I imagine the graphic novel... I imagine it's one of those things that had like quite a cult following. Like, wasn't Ghost in the Shell a graphic novel to start with?
Don't know, it could have been.
I'm not going to say for definite because I don't want to throw a load of like fake news out there.
But the thing is, the film itself had a massive cult following.
It did, yeah, exactly. Wait, The Crow or Ghost in the Shell? Oh, right.
No, The Crow, the film, had a big cult following.
Yeah.
Because it was a sleeper hit, wasn't it?
Yes. What is the definition of a sleeper hit? Something that's like not expected to do well.
I think something like Shawshank Redemption, which didn't do very well in the box office, but then done very well on DVD release.
Oh, really?
And like now it's counted one of the best films of all time.
Yeah, strange.
Obviously, The Crow isn't, but
I wouldn't say no. It's not quite on the same
leave.
pinnacle, you know.
But I think that's what it means. So like once it was out on DVD, it got a lot bigger.
Yeah, yeah. There is one topic I'd like to touch on before we actually start talking about the film properly, and that's one of the huge controversies that surrounds The Crow, the film, and that's that this was the last film Brandon Lee, who is Bruce Lee's son,
Yep.
ever shot, because, pardon the pun, he got shot.
Yeah.
You know, literally.
It was an on-set accident.
Yes. Do you remember all the details of it?
Well, basically there was a scene where right at the beginning of the film where he gets shot.
Yes.
But obviously they didn't film this till right at the end because he only had 3 days left of filming.
Yeah.
By the top point he got shot at. So they had a gun. They're obviously supposed to put blanks in it, but rather than using blanks, they took live ammo, but removed parts of it.
They took out like the gunpowder and
Something
hang
else.
on, I did write something down. Yes, so basically they took out most of the gunpowder and another component, but what they left inside was the primer. So that's what sits at the rear of the cartridge, which basically propels it.
And then they fired that, and when they fired it, something got stuck in the barrel, which is a term, but being English, we don't know much about gun terms.
No, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
we shouldn't know about gun terms.
And and then they later on put the blanks in, which they went and bought, like they should have in the first place. But the blanks had gunpowder in them, but they don't have a shell to shoot.
Yeah, that's
so
exactly
it ended up shooting the thing that was inside the barrel and hit him in the abdomen. I think. Abdomen.
No, he's doing Hercules. It shot him in the abdomen.
There we go.
I felt like I said it wrong, to be honest. Abdomen.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
isn't
it's
it?
mun. Abdomen.
That's the one. There
Abdomen.
we go. You got there in the
Abdomen. So shot him in the abdomen. God, that feels weird saying it now.
Yeah. So so they still decided to release it.
Yeah. Well, most of his scenes were shot. I keep saying shot.
Recorded.
Most of his scenes were recorded.
Finished.
Yeah, we can just edit that in later. Most of his scenes were recorded.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I won't. I'm far too lazy.
Yeah. So basically, like, you know, the majority of the film was done, but you know, they were kind of umming and ahhing as to whether they should actually release it in the first place, considering the star
What just happened?
effectively, you know. It's almost like charges of manslaughter, because the thing is like, I'm quite surprised that it was considered an accidental shooting, because the thing is that for a studio to try and make their own blanks, that's not usually heard of.
Yeah, it was like quite
the practice is sketchy. Do you know what I mean?
It's
like
sketchy,
it seems very sketchy, and it seems like they would have done that to save on costs, because obviously getting a considerable amount of blanks for the whole of a movie would cost a studio quite, you know, a significant amount of money.
The blanks cost a lot of money. There's not a lot of gunfire.
I would imagine.
In the first half hour that we watched.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that blanks would cost that much. That it'd be like.
I'd imagine they'd have to go to a very particular place. Obviously, it's got to be vetted and it's got to be to a certain grade. You know.
Yeah,
so
but then they. But I can't understand how blanks would be much more expensive than live ammo, which is what they turned into a blank.
That is true. Well, yeah, no, that's a
that doesn't make sense.
Really good point. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, does it?
I think they're just being a bit lazy.
Yeah. But the thing is like, then to kind of do it yourself, and the thing is that like when the kind of casing or whatever it was got jammed in the gun, and the thing is you'd use that gun as a one-off, you know, and you'd known something wasn't quite right with it, you know, it didn't work, which is why they then tried a proper blank. You know, forgive me if I'm being stupid, but you wouldn't use the same gun.
You wouldn't think so, no.
Do you know what I mean? It's like that gun had a misfire or a problem.
Yeah.
And, you know, even if you don't have any knowledge of guns, which we don't,
no,
you know, but still you'd know, like, that's been a misfire, there's something wrong, you know, even if you didn't know exactly what it was, you'd think to yourself, well, best not use this. Let's use a new gun. Yeah,
well, you think so, but I mean, we've only like read a bit of the description. We haven't really gone full into looking into this. So
Do you reckon?
I'm guessing there was probably a court case and all that kind of stuff.
Must have been. Yeah,
So-
it must have. Yeah. It was ruled an accident. So
Yeah,
it,
so I'm
it
sure it's
must
all
have gone to
legit.
court. Yeah, but I mean, it's tragedy.
It's still a tragedy, yeah.
Yeah, huge tragedy. I mean, the Lee family have suffered with tragedy.
Yeah.
Our respects to the Lee family.
Mm.
And Brandon and Bruce. God bless you both. But anyway, to the film.
To the film.
So, basically, if you don't know by now, if this is your first time tuning into Cash Grab, number one, welcome. Number two,
We probably should have done this at the beginning.
we should have done, but
Number three.
we procrastinated. Number three, basically, what we do is we take a franchise, in this case, The Crow, and we watch 30 minutes of the film, and then we compare it to the video game, and we play 30 minutes of the video game, and then we have a discussion on the comparisons of the two, the differences, and talk about what we think of both. So basically, we start with the film, and we watched our half an hour. I'd like to say, so let's start at the top. I'd like to say the opening I thought was fucking awesome.
1 second.
Oh god.
Should we just clear up? Have you seen this before?
No, sorry, haven't.
No?
No, I haven't. No, this is my first time. Yes, I popped my crow cherry.
The crow cherry has been popped.
My crow cherry has been popped.
I popped my crow cherry many years ago.
Oh, you're so lucky.
I know.
Oh, you've always
no.
been good with the crows.
I can't remember how many years ago. It was a very, very long time, as I always say.
Oh, bloody hell!
Yeah, it was a very long.
How old do you reckon you were? The
Probably-
fact
it
that you
probably was
can't
like-
remember
yeah, it probably
when you
was
popped your
like
crow cherry is quite worrying.
8-10 years.
Oh, that fucking hell! You
'Cause
were young.
My brother had it on DVD.
Shit, DVD.
Yeah, he had it on DVD.
When we were 8 or 10, weren't videos still around? You sure? It
No,
wasn't?
8 or 10 years ago.
Oh.
Not when I was 8 or 10.
All right. Okay. All right. That makes sense. You lost your crow cherry at a very opportune time. Then I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
So I don't really remember the film though.
Oh, okay. Well, I would say watching it for the first time, at least for the opening, I thought the opening of the film was like quite engaging, to be honest, because it doesn't really. It's one of those films where it starts you not at the beginning or the end. You know, it starts you at a kind of odd point.
Yeah, it
There's-
starts you just like you're just kind of dropped in it, like a
Yeah.
like a HBO TV show. You're just dropped in.
Yeah, literally. It's,
And on you go.
Yeah, and you're kind of dropped in this kind of, somewhere in the film where you have no recollection of what's going on, but at the same time, then the kind of film builds around it, going both to the past and following the progress on.
Yeah, it does
forward.
quite a good job of
Pacing.
pacing. Yes.
Yeah, the pacing is good. But I mean, those opening scenes and it's obviously playing a lot off the graphic novels with the dark brooding scenery and
yeah,
the
very
kind of
dirty atmosphere.
yeah. The thing is, it's like it's ironic it being kind of like is he a superhero? He's kind of like
I'd
I
say.
don't know.
It's,
Well, he's like an undead vigilante.
yeah, that's exactly what he is.
Yeah. So I mean, as as undead vigilantes do go, and I don't know many of them, but it's like it reminds me a lot of the kind of scenery of Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
that-
I'd
it's
go.
that
It's
same
all that
kind of
like
dark-
spire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's that same kind of like dark, kind of like physical
Brooding
set
atmosphere.
building. Yeah, and it has that same sort of feel to it, which is a good thing. That's an awesome.
it works
thing.
in this film definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
So basically, it's about. It starts off with a little girl talking, and she says how. So there's when people die, a crow takes their spirit away.
Mm.
But if the person dies with much sadness, there's. Oh, I mean, I'm kind of paraphrasing here.
No, I
But
think
the
you're pretty good.
Crow will do more to help them, and then they're kind of stuck between their old life and their new life of going into the afterlife.
Yeah.
So then the crow might bring someone back to finish something
Yeah,
that they needed to finish, so they can then go peacefully into the afterlife.
yeah, exactly. That was really good, actually. Yeah, that was genuinely really good. So I mean,
So that's what she says, yeah. And then it gets into the first scene.
yeah, and the first scene effectively it opens up with, the chain smoking cop. There's a cop that every scene we saw in the half an hour he was having a cigarette. So it opens up with him on the top of like it's like a tall building. It's like a loft room. You know, it's got like a little steeple thing at the top. It's almost quite gothic looking.
Yep.
And they're in this room. The kind of camera pans in through a crushed window, which is split to pieces, and our chain smoking police officer is there, chain smoking, and it's a crime scene. And there's, you know, quite a graphic murder on the floor. The woman on the floor who has clearly been murdered.
No, she wasn't murdered.
Was she?
No, she was alive.
Oh God, she was alive, wasn't she?
She was just stabbed multiple times.
Raped.
Yeah. She had a very bad time.
Yeah. And then after it kind of goes around the room and there's some like chatter between the police officers, they're talking about her basically that she's not going to survive.
No.
And then he looks out the window and on the floor, which is, you know, outside on the pavement, which is, you know, like 50 feet down because it's a really tall building, is the body of a man who's obviously, you put two and two together, he's been thrown out the window.
Yes.
But you don't know what's happened before that.
No.
So
that's the opening scene, really.
Yeah, it builds up from then. You know, the lady who has been stabbed multiple times is then taken out on a stretcher, and we're introduced to one of the main characters in it, which is a little girl who I didn't get the name of.
No, I didn't get a name either.
No,
we didn't do very well making notes.
No, well, I mean, I didn't feel like her name was ever mentioned.
But then we said that for Goosebumps, for the rollerblading woman, and her name is mentioned.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
we're
so
not good
we
with
might not
names.
just be listening.
We're not good with names at all. But yeah, so you know, this little girl, as soon as she starts speaking to the police officer, you hear that her voice was the voice in the opening sequence talking about the crow. And quickly, you know, she starts saying that these people, the man and the woman, were her carers. You know.
Yeah, because she was saying who's going to look after me now and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the policeman basically takes her under his wing. Then I don't know.
I don't think he takes.
He doesn't like let her live with him and all that kind of stuff. But like it then cuts to a year later.
Yes.
And she's putting flowers on the grave of Shelley and Eric.
Shelley. Yeah, yeah.
And then she goes off to a hot dog stand, and the smoking police officers there, and now having a
smoke
bit
and
of
a
a
hot
laugh.
dog.
Yeah. So they have a bit of a laugh together. So clearly they still know each other and keep in contact.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next.
Oh right. So, so basically, like we find out that you know Shelley and Eric, who were the ones who were murdered previously, them being the girl's carers, she's obviously held. You know, the girl herself has held like a lot of love. She's continued to kind of like, you know, care. You know, after these people have died a year on, and this is where the crow starts introducing itself more. Like, the crow, the animal. I mean, it starts actually appearing in pretty much every scene, and basically,
it's sat on top of Eric's grave when she goes there.
Yeah, and and I wrote down a line. She said a really cool line that I thought was awesome. She said...
So as she was leaving the graveyard, the crow was on top of the grave.
Yes.
And then it kind of like... What noise do crows make?
Wah.
It does
kind
that.
of like... Wah,
yeah, it does that at her.
Yeah. Shit, I can't find the line. Oh, yeah, so she like, after she puts the flowers on the grave, and she kind of looks back and the crow goes... Wah. She goes, "What are you looking at, watchman?" And I thought, that's a really fucking cool line. And then she just walks off like in the rain and shit. And I was like, wow, that was really really impactful. Like, and like the set building, like I would say the first quarter of an hour of the film, the set building, like another thing I'd want to point out, the music, the score is amazing. Like the first quarter of an hour at least, it's got like a lot of kind of like Middle Eastern feel, like very traditional like music, you know.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
very cool.
Yeah, at the same time quite Celtic. Like I heard some bagpipes in there a couple of times, I'm pretty sure. So it has this amazing score and it's dark and brooding, and it's like for the first 15 minutes you're kind of really like absorbed in it because it's just like it's I don't know, it's so
because it opens so big as well. It opens with a murder scene.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like you've got the repercussions and you've got the people trying to deal with it afterwards. It drags you straight in.
It
and
does.
Then the music and the set and everything just does work with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then after the girl leaves the graveyard, it's become apparent that this crow, being the watchman, is there to resurrect. Better word.
Resurrect Eric.
Yeah. So he is basically becoming the watchman, the crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then then he comes out of the grave.
Eric, by the way, is Brandon Lee's character.
Yeah, he's Brandon Lee. He's the main character. So he comes out of the grave. He's just. It looks like his normal self, doesn't he? He looks normal.
Pretty much. Yeah.
He obviously is a bit confused as to what the hell's going on.
You would be after a year of death, I suppose,
year of death,
wouldn't you?
yeah. Why did it take the crow a year?
I was thinking
I know why.
Halloween,
because they got murdered on what did they call it? Devil's Night.
They call it Devil's Night, but
where
it is
basically
October
it looks
30th.
like so it looks like Halloween / this crew of 4 people go around and just cause havoc in the town.
Yeah.
And it's coming up to Devil's Night again.
Yes.
So they're going to go out and cause more havoc. So that's why I think Brandon Lee then gets.
Yeah, it's like the night of his grief, and obviously what she said about the crow bringing people back who have been lost to grief. You know that have their grudge.
He's been stuck between like his old life and his afterlife. For a year.
Yeah.
So he comes back. He follows the crow back to his old flat.
Yeah.
Where he like has this quite powerful scene actually of like. So he looks at something and then he sees the past, and you're going flicking like back and forth between the present and the past.
Yeah.
And the whole story of them two is explained. Of he just proposed to her, and they're going to get married like the next day.
Yeah.
She had her dress and everything is all planned out. They had like this very nice like typical movie relationship.
Yeah.
She set a pan on fire, and he comes running in laughing and giggling.
Yeah, and he's like,
there's a massive fire in the
you
kitchen.
silly bitch.
Yeah. They have the typical movie relationship.
Yeah.
Everything's happy, no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And then his people break in, and then he has to deal with seeing all that all over again.
Yeah, so he's kind of tormented, having to relive, basically watching his fiancée get raped and murdered. And I mean, it's like, for the time, I mean, obviously, as time has gone on, movies have become more graphic and they don't hold their punches as much. And I mean, this was we should say this was released in 94. So, I mean, even though films were somewhat more kind of, they were kind of slowly getting more and more graphic and more kind of,
intense.
Intense, yeah. At the same time, I think for the time, like, it's going to hit you a bit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it was, the flashbacks are pretty kind of like telling.
Yeah.
They don't hold their punches.
No, they don't. It's very in your face to what's going on. And
so he's kind of tormented with having to relive, that scenario, which is basically
most horrible point of his life.
Yeah, and the thing is, take it from his point of view as well. Literally, that's the last time he was alive. So
yeah,
I mean, to him, it literally feels like it just happened.
Yeah.
So he is literally just brought back from the dead, instantly faced with his grief.
Yeah,
and
he has to watch it all over again.
Yeah,
and live it all over again.
Yeah,
and then at the bit where they throw him through the window, he then runs at the window. Does like a
I don't know why he does.
Does
that.
like a weird gymnastic like move on the window and then comes back in, doesn't he?
Yeah, he kind of flips to the outside.
He flips outside and then
kind of
comes
like
back in again.
Yeah, he kind of like balances himself like defying gravity for about 2 seconds, comes back in for no real reason.
Maybe it's to show us the crow's power.
Well, I mean, it would take an insanely tough person to literally hold himself vertically.
Upside down.
Yeah. And no, he was vertical. He was
vertical,
horizontal.
wasn't he? Yeah, horizontal,
He was like floating horizontally, just holding a bar. I mean, like, I don't know a human that can do that.
I mean, there are humans that can do that.
I would like to meet
None
these
of us,
humans.
though, because we're all pudgy.
We're not pudgy.
No, we're not pudgy.
Isn't it podgy?
Is it podgy?
I don't know.
Podgy.
Podgy or podgy?
Podge.
Let's mix the two. Poojy.
We're
poojy.
We're poojy.
But yeah. So, that when he realizes he's cut his hand on the glass, which was on the window, silly boy, duh. Yeah. I mean, obviously.
Also, why the hell has no one cleared this up? It looks like quite a big flat. Like,
it's a year later, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was going to say it's still a crime scene, but no. I mean, this is.
It's a year later.
Yeah.
They clearly know who done it because they know this group. You know what I mean? Like they.
Yeah.
They must know it was this group that done it.
Yeah.
It's a year later. They haven't
That's a
even
really good point.
Cleared it up. I mean, that glass could, like, I don't know, big bit of wind
It's-
comes through,
yeah.
pulls some of that glass off, hits someone in the eye.
It still
God.
had like all of his notes and all the candles he had left out. It was literally
Not lit.
not lit. Wait, they were lit, weren't they?
No, they weren't lit.
Weren't they?
They were
thought
still lit after a year. That's an amazing
They're
candle.
long burning candles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got your money's worth there.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Well, it depends. I don't know how much they might have cost. It's like, how much is the candle? £1,000. He'd be like, oh, but does it really burn for a year?
Let's put it to the
Then he finds
test.
out 364 days, bloody rip-off. It's clearly not worth £1,000. It's worth $994.
99 cents.
Beautiful. So, yes, I mean, that's how kind of like The Crow comes to be.
Anyway, he cuts his hand.
Oh shit! Yeah, he cuts
Yeah.
his hand and he looks down at his hand. He's got kind of like a huge slice on both his palms, and they just instantly heal up. And it kind of hits him. I am the Crow. I are Crow.
Yeah, and then he goes to his little like nightstand thing with like a mirror and that, which he just happens to have some white face paint on it.
I know, that's another thing.
That
I
was
didn't
a
really
bit. That was a
pick
bit
up on.
weird. And then he just white face painted his face
And
painted
this
up, and
is-
then like painted his eyes and mouth black.
But you know what happened? This is the montage. They literally had a
Gonna be a
montage.
montage.
They literally had a montage. The first montage of the film it's not like your usual montage, which is like somebody training or, like somebody climbing, like running up a mountain, like in Rocky. It's a man putting on face paint. That is the first montage.
And a crow telling him like where to look for his clothes.
Yeah, literally. It's just like Crow's like, trousers here, mate. And he's
Yeah.
like, sorry, let me just do my paint.
Remember that jumper you loved? It's over here, mate.
Yeah, exactly. No, not that one. Silly.
You look stupid in blue.
Yeah,
What are you
exactly.
doing?
Crows are black. Duh.
You
I mean,
idiot.
yeah, exactly.
We have white faces.
Don't
Wait,
wear,
hold on.
don't wear bloody trainers. You look a right Burke. put your boots on, silly bloody crow, Eric. By the way, this isn't exactly how the film went.
This is 90% how it went.
Yeah, we're somewhat paraphrasing, but there was another. So basically, another thing I wanted to point out. I think the montage music was done by The Cure. I don't know if you know much about The Cure.
No, I don't know much about The Cure.
They're a good band. They're British. I quite like them, but I don't know for definite. It might be by The Cure. It sounded like The Cure. It had that kind of dark, gloomy feel.
The
to it.
Cure.
The Cure.
The Cure?
What was I saying something wrong?
You just said The Cure a lot.
The Cure. The Cure. The Cure. It sounds. The more I say it, the more weird it sounds. It's like abdomen again. The Cure.
Oh,
For-
no,
The
not.
Cure for abdomen pain.
Cure.
But yeah. So basically, a very strange 2-minute montage of a man putting up makeup.
And then sprinting along the rooftops.
Yeah. So basically, he's kind of off to find the first of the 4 men. Was it 4 of them?
Yeah, it's 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's off to find the first of the 4 men that, basically.
Killed him and his wife.
Yeah. Exactly. And ruined
Well,
his
soon to be wife, but
fiance. Yeah.
can't say.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, he kind of spends a few minutes jumping. I'd like to say I think this is the point where the film starts to kind of lose its edge a bit. Those first 15 minutes of opening up and setting the scene and it being dark and brooding, like we're saying, really loved it. And I think as soon as
Yeah.
he kind of like they had a montage for putting on makeup,
You know what it was? Yeah, that
it
that
kind
kind
of-
of went a bit
it
downhill, and
started to
then
get a bit ridiculous.
and then you kind of the makeup was there, and like, as you pointed out whilst we were watching it, it looks quite similar to Heath Ledger's Joker,
yeah, quite uncanny. Well,
which obviously this one came first.
yeah, we should say Heath Ledger's Joker looks quite uncannily like Brandon Lee's The Crow.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's strange.
but then so like once you see that, I was like, okay, that's him.
Yeah.
So I was kind of back in again.
Yeah.
And it was when the crow starts talking, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like I kind of got taken out of it by then.
Really?
Like not the crow. I mean Brandon Lee himself, the man.
Okay. Well, what
It was
what
just-
about it?
I don't know. It was as soon as, because he just talks like a normal person.
He doesn't kind of have the whole Christian Bale.
No,
Or
he
anything
doesn't have
like
the,
that.
oh, Batman.
Oh.
No, but like he doesn't have
Bane with constipation. Oh, Batman!
Oh,
Oh, Batman!
help me.
It's like
Um,
if Kenneth Williams was cast as Bane. Oh, Ooh, Batman.
That's a film I'd
I
want to
was
see.
born in it. Sorry. Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
just,
don't know. It just took me out of it. I don't really know why. I feel like
yeah.
if he was not completely silent, but if he was more of a silent protagonist,
The thing is that
I
would
think
suit.
that could work quite well
It
for
would
the
suit.
film.
It would suit like a I don't know whether to call him a hero. To be honest, I would say he's like an anti-hero in many ways. So I think it would suit someone like the Crow.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of just be silent and menacing, and
Yeah,
kind of
but he's not very menacing.
no, not at all. To be honest, in fact, you know who he looks like, and maybe we could do a quick picture. Sting, the wrestler.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
He looks like a small Sting.
Small
A
Sting.
small Sting. So I mean, I do get what you mean. I mean, he doesn't really have that emphasis, and I think it's I don't want to, slate Brandon Lee at all because, it's
Well, it's not his character design and choice of all that, is it?
no. But one thing I would say is that I think Brandon Lee's perfect for the role, or was perfect for the role, in terms of his physicality and his
Oh yeah,
image.
yeah, definitely.
But I think it just goes to show that he's not a great actor. His kind of like vocal performance isn't that awe-inspiring, and his kind of like when they have close-ups of his face and stuff, he's clearly overacting, like he's trying to have manic eyes and he's being too much. Do you know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
he's obviously very conscious of the fact that he's either not a great actor in the first place or he's not confident about the role, so he's trying to overact, and it does take you away from the character and the film a bit, to be honest.
Well, should we get to the first fight scene?
Yeah. So
I can't remember the guy's name that he fights. It's like
I thought it was like Tintin.
Tinto.
Oh, it was Tinto. I think. Tinto. Yeah.
We got there at the end.
Fucking hell. Yeah.
Tinto. Yeah, so he takes on Tinto. So Tinto is at a pawn shop, trying to sell things.
That's PAWN, by the way.
Porn.
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 And
New York accent.
the guy gives him like no money for it, and he gets upset and leaves. Goes down an alleyway, and then the crow. So that the actual animal, the crow, is flying along, looks over the edge, and then Brandon Lee, the crow.
Yes, it's going to be complicated.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
He then can he see what the animal crow can see? Because it gave you that idea.
It gives you the impression, he can see and witness through the crow, the animal. But at the same time, it never really
explains if the crow, the human, can see what the crow, the animal, is looking at.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like for certain, but it implies that he is able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he sees Taito?
Oh, fuck. Tinto.
Tinto.
Yeah.
He sees him walking down the alleyway, stop at an on fire.
This is like a fucking classic bit.
What are they called?
They're like you know that typical old scene. They're like old metal barrels.
Yeah,
they're like this, like almost like toxic waste
oil
barrel.
barrel.
Yeah, oil barrel.
It's just on fire for some reason.
Yeah, it's like that kind of classic thing of like you've got like 4 hobos sitting around a barrel that's on fire, just warming their hands. So there's one of them without any hobos.
Yeah, just
on
on its
fire.
own, just on fire.
Makes me think, who started the fire and why have they left it unattended?
Oh, they don't care. I mean, it's not a city that cares, is it? It's more grimy than like Gotham.
It's true. It's true.
It's
another Batman comparison.
It's a very dirty city, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It is. They need some funding for their sanitation. That'll sort them out.
Yeah.
Who needs the crow when you got bin lorries?
And fire trucks to put out these fires.
Oh, dear. So Tinto walks up to a flaming barrel and just thinks, I'll light my cigarette by literally putting my fucking head in it.
There are so many cigarettes in this film as well.
Yeah, I think at least for the half an hour we watched, I don't think there was a scene without one.
No, I don't think so.
The only scenes where there weren't is when there were scenes with like the little girl alone.
And
when she put the flowers on the grave.
When like Eric and that whole scene when Eric goes back to the flat and has all the Eric's not to be fair, it wouldn't surprise me if the 4 men were smoking whilst that was happening. I can't remember now. but Eric and his
Ah,
fiance
in the flat.
were.
Yeah. I think some couple of them
probably
were
were,
in the
yeah.
flashback. So
Yeah.
So I mean,
Just always smoking in this film.
constant smoking. It was the
Yeah.
90s, man.
It was cool.
It was cool
It
to
was
smoke
cool
in the
to
90s.
do.
It was cool to smoke in the 90s and wear fishnets and what else happened? Other things.
Dunno.
Yeah. Other things happened.
And things.
That's about it. But
So the fight scene. So the crow jumps down.
yeah.
What do they call him? Because they use this in the game a lot as well. What do they always say to him?
Oh, clown
Clown face? I think it was clown face.
Yeah.
So he's like, "What are you doing, clown face?"
And you're like,
Like, don't you realise that Halloween's? What does he say? Halloween's. He says like a weird word that I had no idea what he meant.
I didn't understand a fucking word he was saying, to be
No.
honest.
So anyway, Halloween's tomorrow, I think.
Yeah.
But he didn't say tomorrow. He just said some weird word.
Yeah.
Don't know what it was. So then Eric carries on walking towards him, menacingly.
Sort of
Air
menacingly.
quote.
Yeah.
And then the fight scene starts.
And I think
It's
should we come out of it now?
go on.
Well, the word I said at the time was lame.
Yeah,
I think
that does describe it pretty well.
Lame and underwhelming are the two words I'd use to describe the first fight scene. And as a first fight scene, you want it to grasp you. It being a film which is mainly trying to present itself as like an action film.
Yeah.
It's not very becoming.
Yeah, so it was basically a lot of grappling and then throwing the other person. There's a fire alarm going off next door.
Oh, don't worry, it'd be the barrel I left on fire
Oh,
downstairs.
in my alleyway. Oh yeah. Oh, good. Maybe someone's warming their hands around
I
it.
just left it there so I could light my cigarette in it later. Put my face in it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of grappling, and then at the beginning of the fight, Tinto.
I
God,
hope
I'm never
it is
gonna get it
Tinto.
right. Tinto looked like he was winning because the crow would grab him, throw him into a wall, and then Tinto would throw a good punch or kick him, whatever,
Well, the thing is, it's like
and hit the crow, and then crow would grab him, throw him into something else.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's like the crow. I mean, especially like Brandon Lee Eric, should I say, is well built, tough. You'd imagine he has at least some fighting experience.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like this is a guy that raped and murdered his wife, one of 4. Your rage would overcome you. I mean,
Well, it does. It does towards the end of the fight scene,
yeah.
which is the bit we don't really see. But yeah, you think that he'd be full on
Well, you'd imagine
destroying
punches,
this guy,
kicks, and
yeah.
vicious behaviour,
but he's
instead
just
he
kind of gently throwing him into the wall.
You know what the throws reminded me of? The throws in the original Batman, the 60s Batman. You know when like he would be wrestling,
Pow.
yeah, doo. It's like and he'd be like tussling with like a fug or something,
Yeah.
and then he'd literally just like do like an over exaggerated throw, and they would just like go, huh, and just like
Slump against
They
the
would
wall.
literally just jump into a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very similar to that.
Yeah, it was just kind of a bit like,
Yeah, not
shit.
not the best.
That's a bit fucking shit.
And then it gets to a point where Tinto,
yes.
Tinto. Where Tinto pulls out, he's like, I want you to meet my friends, and pulls out 2 knives.
Yeah,
He's like, my 2 friends. He makes it very
very clear
that he's got 2 mates.
Yes.
And they never miss.
Yep. And
So-
they're
so he
knifey and
throws-
blady.
That's not what they were called, was it?
They don't actually have names.
Oh, right, cool. I was like, please don't tell me that's what they were called.
No, they're not. They're
Knifey and blady.
Tim and Tom. That was shit. Wasn't it?
So you thought of
Fucking
Tim,
shit.
and you couldn't think of a second name, so you went for your own name.
Names are hard, man. I can't think of
James.
Oh, that's a good one. Should have come up with James. But then I'd like it to rhyme.
Christopher.
I'd like it to rhyme, so I'd like it to be like a. What other names rhyme? Steph and Steph with a PH.
God, you're a lyrical genius.
Oh, don't I know it, mate? It's so hard being me.
God.
So hard being this talented.
Oh, well, you had some poetry books or something, mate.
Fucking hell. Let's not get into that. there's a reason they flopped so hard, mate. And it's like, you see, I can't even think of a rhyming example. Fuck
Right.
it. Anyway,
So
his
he
2 knives,
pulls out
his
his
2
2 knives,
friends.
which you don't have names for.
Yeah.
He says they never miss, so he lobs one, and
Yep.
Eric dodges it.
Yep. So that's a miss. That's doo-doo.
He
One.
lobs the second one.
Yep.
And Eric smacks it out of the way.
Yep. So that's another miss. Doo-doo. Why am I doing doo-doo?
Da-da.
Okay.
And then he pulls out a third knife,
Yeah.
which we're not sure where that came from.
Yeah.
And then he throws it at Eric straight for his face. So to be fair, well on target. And
Yes.
Eric claps it and catches it. At the same time.
Almost like sort of like that whole kind of like ancient karate master catching a fly with
Yeah.
chopsticks. You know, it's
Exactly,
like that sort of thing. Yeah.
And then the crow stabs him in the shoulder.
Yeah. He
And-
pins into a pallet basically. Yeah.
And then does the whole like, do you remember a year ago you did this?
Yeah.
Kind of like, the scene of Game of Thrones of the Viper. the
Yeah.
mountain.
And Tinto says eventually, yes, I remember Shelley. I remember pounding her little pink ass and she loved it. And I thought, probably not the smartest thing to say.
Not when a man has a knife through your shoulder.
No, best to say something along the lines of, I didn't know Shelley, but if I did, I would imagine we'd get on like a house on fire. And then he would say, I liked Shelley.
Yeah.
And that should be it.
Yeah.
But
He doesn't. So
doesn't.
instead, we don't see what happens next, but then later on in the film, they pull Tinto?
Yeah.
They pull Tinto out of an alleyway on
Yeah.
a girder.
Yeah.
And he has about seven knives?
I would say it's close to 10.
All right, 10 knives.
Where the fuck did those other 7 knives come from?
God knows, but he had like 10 knives sticking out of his chest.
I mean, either Tinto was carrying far more than 2 friends. He had 10 friends with him.
Yeah.
Or, fucking hell, or literally... What,
The crow could spawn knives.
Or, you know what my favourite idea is, what happened? My favourite idea is that, like, he stabs him, like, and he uses his 3 knives, and Tinto's like, oh, shit, man, what the fuck are you doing, man? And he's like, damn, he's still not dead. And he goes out, and he buys a knife, and stabs him for a 4th time, and he's like, oh, man, he stabbed me again, man. He's like, shit, he's still not dead. Goes out, buys another knife, and just keeps going and going, and he's like, fucking hell, 10's got to do it. He's like, silence.
Silence.
He's like, thank fuck for that.
As he's leaving. Oh, man.
And he's just like, I need to buy a gun. Yeah.
So he is brutally murdered
Yes.
by the crow.
Yes.
So the crow gets his revenge on
Yeah.
Tinto.
I mean, from this point onwards, to be honest, like, it's all quite segmented, and there wasn't really any particular, like, big stand-up scenes to speak of. It starts trying to kind of like get you used to the other hoodlums, like the other 3. So you have more scenes with them in a little bar they go to called
It tries to build in the first half an hour, the pits,
The Pits, yeah.
So it tries to build the story for them, and it kind of carries on with that, really.
Yeah, the thing is though,
That was the first half hour.
yeah, one of the problems I would say though, with trying to build the villains, like, to be honest, like, it doesn't do a good job of giving them any personality whatsoever.
No, they're very
just like,
generic, aren't they?
They're all identical to one another. They all do the same things, the same actions, and they're just like,
bad people.
yeah, just generic arsehole
Yeah.
times 4.
Yeah.
You know, it's
that
like,
is all they are.
it's like it doesn't do a good job of like having a 3-dimensional villain or villains. You know.
Yeah, it was very much copy and paste.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
so that was the first half hour. Any more? Anything more you want to say?
Some little notes to go over. I've written down hot dogs and cigarettes.
Oh, because there was a lot of hot dogs
and a lot of cigarettes. We talked about Heath Ledger's Joker. Shit on me.
Yeah, so there's one point where he goes.
That wasn't me asking Steph, by the way. That was a statement of the movie.
That was a quote from the film.
Yes.
The guy says it 3 times. So basically, the crow then goes into the pawn shop and says, "Tinto told me he sold you a ring a year ago.
Yeah.
Where is it?" I can't remember what does the crow do to make the guy go so scared.
The guy shoots him, and the crow
that
just,
was it,
like,
yeah.
basically just
Heels in front of him.
Yeah, and the guy's like, "Shit on me! Oh God, shit on me!" And then, once more for luck, shit on me!
And then the crow beats him up.
Yeah, didn't even shit on him.
But yeah, like, why is that something you'd shout? That's just not an.
It's
fuck me is an expression when someone does something like, I'm like, fuck me, what's going on here?
Yeah.
No one, I don't think, has ever said shit on
You would
me.
expect like a Jesus Christ or oh fucking hell or Christ Lord no. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like, but shit on me?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
Just a tad.
Yeah,
Just a tad
so
strange.
That was
Yeah.
a bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, apart from that, I mean, most of the notes, we forgot to mention this film is directed by Alex Proyas or Proyas. I don't know how to say it, but
No idea.
I'm not aware of any other films he's done.
Never heard of him before, but my knowledge of directors isn't the best.
No, likewise. We probably should have a better knowledge.
We're not
considering our podcast.
Well, I mean, we're not movie critics. We watch half an hour and then talk about it.
Yeah, that's
we're not,
true. Yeah,
we're not full-on critics.
No, and we don't pretend to be. But you know, well, I guess we've come to the point where we should say our thoughts of it, and would we continue watching? Go on, Steph.
You know what? I probably would continue watching it.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I've seen it once before.
that's true. Yeah,
I'd kind of. Yeah, I probably would continue watching it just to see what else happened.
yeah. Okay.
Just I probably would.
And your thoughts of the first half an hour?
Yeah, it was all right.
I think that's about as far as you can go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm on similar lines. I think I would watch the rest of it, being that I've not watched it before.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. But the thing is, I'd like to say I don't have high hopes because it's kind of the more
It's
we
already
watch
sloping.
it's just kind of slowly going downhill.
I honestly can't remember what happens next.
Yeah.
So.
But I would say I'm not optimistic. I wouldn't be optimistic about watching the last of it, basically.
No, but you would carry on watching it.
I would. But I think if I'd seen it before, I would probably say no. That's in the expectation of it not getting any better and getting worse.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, not great, not terrible. First 15 minutes I thought was awesome. After that, not great.
Yeah. All right, so we both watch it again, but I don't think either of us would rush to watch it again.
No.
Carry on watching it.
No, not at all.
No, I wouldn't like the next film I watch. I wouldn't be like, I have to watch The Crow.
Yeah, exactly. I've just got to watch fucking Crow.
If I'm ill in bed one day, then I might stick it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's no real, like you say, there's no real pull to just watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so then
here we go.
Then there's the video game.
Oh my god!
And what's it called? Because it's not called The Crow. It is called The Crow. It's called
The Crow
City of Angels.
So basically, this was released in '97. So considering the graphic novel was released in '89, then the film was released 5 years later in '94, and then this was 3 years after that in '97.
1997, eh?
So, I mean, there's quite significant gaps between all of those. So,
yeah,
there's... I don't know what to say.
I don't know why.
I was going to say you'd hope
Do you know what?
Go on.
Like we said, the film was a sleeper hit.
Ah, yeah, of course.
So the film got bigger as time went on.
Yeah, and when it was released on, like, VHS or DVD or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, right. Well, that makes perfect sense.
Makes a bit more sense. And then when did the PlayStation 1 come out?
Oh, 94?
Oh, so the PlayStation 1's been out for a while.
It was 94, wasn't it? Something like that.
Don't know. It was around that time.
Yeah. But I mean, so where the fuck do we start with?
So this game is based on the same concept. So
but it doesn't actually.
But it doesn't follow
the
the
plot lines.
film.
No.
So as far as you can work out, I mean, it's quite tough to tell. 2 people get murdered. It looks like a father and daughter. I only know that because I died in the game.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to tell what's going on. But
it doesn't give any backstory whatsoever.
I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the opening clips.
Yeah.
And there is very bad voice acting, which you won't hear. But
that is like the first note I made is worst voice acting I've ever heard.
It's nearly as bad as the first Resident Evil game.
You're going to become a gibble sandwich. Best fucking line ever. Fucking hilarious. Yeah, it is. It's on similar levels. Yeah.
And then it just starts off, and you're a guy stood just outside a bar.
You're in like the parking lot of
Yeah.
a bar. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you are the crow.
and you're the crow. Yeah. So the gameplay is essentially a 3D like 3D people in a 3D environment, but it's all 2D pre-rendered backgrounds.
Yes.
And it's a fighting game. It's a beat 'em up.
Yeah, I mean, I made a note whilst you're playing it, in between fits of manic laughter.
So yeah, it's the gameplay of me playing that you're going to be watching, and it is hilarious.
Oh God, honestly, we spent the whole time laughing.
I don't think I've laughed at a game for so long.
It is the funniest game. So basically, yeah, like Steph says, it is a beat them up. But I got the sense from playing that basically what it wanted to be is it wanted to have that same kind of final fight.
Yes, final fight.
Do you know what I mean? It was like gritty. It was on the streets.
Yeah, like yeah.
But at the same time, they were
with
trying
the gameplay of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, exactly. But they were trying to implement that in 3D. They clearly have not done it right. And the thing is, what they've done, obviously, this is in '97, so this is at the height of popularity of games like Resident Evil. I think '97 was close to when the second one was released, actually.
Do you know what it really reminded me of?
Go on.
Silent Hill.
Yeah.
The first Silent Hill game.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that
and this
people listening to this podcast know something about games as well.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
So if you played Silent Hill, it's very much tank controls.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so if you haven't played it, it's like forwards obviously makes you walk forward.
Yeah.
But then left and right, you turn. So like
you
don't like strafe left and right.
No.
It's you turn, then you walk forwards.
Motions don't flow. You know, you have to kind of align yourself in the direction, move, align yourself, move.
And I think that's the hardest point of this game. Aligning yourself.
Thing, it doesn't work because to have a flowing fighting game such as Final Fight, which is obviously 2D, making it a lot simpler, to have it flowing and the fighting flowing, like you can't have tank controls. Do you know what I mean?
No,
it does not
work.
It doesn't work in theory, let alone in practice.
No, so as a guy comes out, you go over to him, and the first 10 seconds of most fights is you spinning left and right, trying to work out when you're facing the guy to punch him.
Yeah.
Because you'll be throwing punches and kicks, and you'll just be missing him because there's no
hit detection.
There's no way. Yeah, you'd think there'd be like a lock on that when you got near him, you'd lock onto him and you could go.
Yeah.
But there's none of that. You literally walk up to him, and if you're not in the exact spot that he's looking at, you ain't going to be hitting him.
I
mean,
it's the same with the enemies. At this moment, you're probably seeing Steph on screen if you're watching on YouTube, like
exactly
punching thin air. Because,
and then like you could pick things up. So you could pick up like pipes and broken bottles, and you could throw them.
Yep.
I think I got one hit in the whole game because it's impossible to know when it's going to throw.
No, it's ridiculous.
You think you've lined it up sweet, you lob it and it goes somewhere completely different.
Yeah.
And it's just there's no like
it's busted.
Yeah.
The controls are busted and it just doesn't work. For something which is trying to present itself as a beat 'em up and like a free flowing one and an open one, it's just the worst fucking control scheme. So it is the same as like
the control scheme is awful. It could have really benefited if
the lock on, like you say.
Lock on, I think just change the style. Don't have it in a 3D environment.
Yeah,
like if you look back at the arcades, like the Punisher, what a beat 'em up that was. Just side scrolling. Just stick to side scrolling because it just
of course.
Surely within like the first like few months of programming this and testing it out, they realised that this just doesn't work.
Oh, definitely.
And I know it was released 1997, but I'm sure there were big games released in
Well,
I mean, like we just said, the Punisher was released God knows when because that was in the arcade.
Oh, that was like 1990.
That was in the arcade.
Like 91 or something.
Lot
years
longer
and years
before.
Yeah.
And it was so much smoother. There's a lot of
awesome
arcade there's a lot of side-scrolling beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
So this 3D one.
Well, this the
Why?
thing. They obviously just wanted to utilize the PlayStation.
Yeah.
They wanted to utilize 3D technology, and obviously in '97 they're still in the process of trying to understand how to do these things properly. A lot of early PlayStation games, or even like later PlayStation games, that tried to kind of do like 3D kind of like eight-dimensional fighting, kind of like from all angles, being able to access. They don't work. You know, a lot of them don't work. And the thing is like, the thing is with this is obviously they're playing off the popularity of games like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, in so many ways. Like we said, tank controls. taken it directly from that.
Yep.
Also, fixed camera angles.
Oh, the camera angles.
Fixed camera
They
angles.
were
Yep.
a nightmare.
Exactly.
Absolute nightmare.
Same thing with Silent Hill and Resident Evil. They have fixed camera angles
Yeah,
and the tank controls.
Yeah,
you know?
it's the same problem. So you'd be fighting someone,
Yeah.
and then you'd knock him out.
Yeah.
And then there'd be another health bar, so you'd know there's someone else around.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know where. So you'd be running around trying to find the other person.
And the funniest thing is
and they'll
because
just appear.
they just kind of like casually stroll
Yeah,
onto
yeah, they
screen.
just wander around.
It's the fucking funniest thing. Just like thugs, just strolling onto screen, taking a fucking lifetime to get to you, and then just going, "Hey, clown face."
Yeah, they kept saying that as well.
Hey,
Everyone
clown
you walked
face.
into was, "Hey, clown face."
I would like to say I did make a little note. My note to describe the game was murder people and walk away simulator.
Yeah, so the walking. So if you're not watching the YouTube video, listening on SoundCloud, we'll have to describe what the walking looks like.
I would say do give it a watch. Hit
It
the link,
is,
hit the
yeah,
link to our YouTube and
I
give
would
it a watch.
definitely recommend it.
But we'll describe
is
it
funny.
anyway.
So the walking animation. Imagine
Oh,
Imagine
here we go.
you've like, you're wearing quite a tight pair of jeans,
A very tight pair of jeans.
and you had a bit of fish last night which didn't agree with you,
Yep, it was a bit undercooked.
and you've ended up shitting your pants. And then you've got to
Don't we all
walk-
know this situation?
Yeah, we've all been there. And then you've got to walk like home.
Yeah, and
And
it's some distance. It's over 20 minutes.
Yeah, so you'd walk like your legs were like unbendable.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You're
So like,
constantly fucking rigid.
yeah, then that's how he walks.
With an arched back, ape-like arms, and a neck which doesn't properly connect to your body.
Yeah,
It's fucking hysterical.
It's very funny
like,
to watch.
There's nothing funnier than like watching Steph and he like playing as the Crow. He like picks up a knife on the ground, and the first thing like a guy just kind of like walks up to Steph, does the "Hey, clown face." Steph like kicks him or goes to kick him a couple of times. They miss
none of them
completely.
land at all.
And then Steph's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" And then just out of nowhere, throws the knife, goes right past the guy's head, and you just hear like a poof in the background. Knife's hit the wall or some shit. And then basically it's like it takes about 5 minutes to beat this one guy up. He finally dies, and it's just like, oh, and then just slowly strolls away.
Yeah, they
like
just walk off.
Just
Yeah,
calmly strolls away. Murder people and walk away simulator.
what
And
it
it's
is. Yeah,
fucking hysterical.
it is.
Especially
it is
when you
very
like
funny.
throw things in between fights, and they never hit. They always just like smash into a wall. But then every time
But then
the
they throw
computer-
stuff at you. No, they don't always hit you though.
I've
had a few fights
That time
and
we
they're
got
like-
hit by 2 bottles, like
Oh, yeah,
in like the same second. It was just like you just like casually stroll into a fucking room, and it's just like, psh, ow, psh, oh, it's just like 2 fucking bottles right to the fucking
That was
head.
when that was when I died, and then I lowered the difficulty to easy as well.
Oh, we
Still
had to.
took
We
it.
had to. Oh, it was so funny.
But like you'd be fighting, and you could. So on the top left corner is your health bar.
Yeah.
Top right corner is the enemy's health bars.
Yes.
And then when there were multiple enemies, there were multiple health bars.
Yeah.
So you'd be fighting someone, you could see there's another full health bar. So you know there's an enemy around, but camera angles, you have no idea where they are.
Yeah.
And you'll be fighting, and then like a glass bottle would fly out of nowhere and smash the wall next to you.
That's the
Or
thing.
or they just wander past. Or
Because of fixed camera angles, you hardly see anything except
No.
for fucking like bottles flying at your head or knives like shooting at your crotch and shit, and you're like, what the actual fuck is going on? And we just walk into a room and just a bottle just like smash on the back wall, and you're like, I've literally no idea who threw that or where the fuck it came from.
No, no
It's
idea where
just,
they
like,
are.
Appeared out of nowhere.
So then, yeah, another problem with fixed camera angles. I had no fucking idea where I was going.
No,
So I'd
gives
go
no
in the room.
indication, does
I'd
it?
go in a room. I'd knock everyone out. I'd walk around, and I had no idea how to leave the room. And then another problem with this, another problem with the game, which Silent Hill suffered with as well. So
Yeah.
obviously the PS1 not the most powerful thing at the time. It was big,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it had its limitations.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
Silent Hill wanted a big open space, but it couldn't render it.
This
So
is
it
where
had
fog.
a big fog,
Yeah.
which is now like a staple in Silent Hill games.
Very clever move.
But the
yeah,
reason they had the fog was because the PlayStation wasn't able to deal with the open space.
Yeah, yeah.
So this one
Mhm.
has open spaces that you can go in,
Yes.
but every time you leave it and go into a new room, loading screen.
Yeah, every single time. And they don't take a huge amount of time, but it stops the flow.
It completely stops the flow.
Yeah. So what?
there's no fucking flow in this game at all anyway.
It stops that wonderful gameplay I'm just loving. It's like yeah, that is a very good point. In fact, the loading screens are probably the kind of most gameplay heavy part of the game.
So,
fucking hell!
knocking stuff over.
That was almost the identical
was so
sound of a
close.
bottle smashing in Crow City of
Yeah, it
Angels as well.
So, right. So your move set.
Oh fucking
You've
hell!
got-
Here we go.
You've got duck.
Yep.
Which I never understood why you'd use.
No,
And I did duck one kick.
you did avoid a couple.
I
yeah,
kicked,
yeah.
yeah.
You're quite stylish.
I don't know why. You got block, which is like, I'm sure I was blocking, looking forward. Someone came up behind me, hit me in the back of the head, and I blocked it. But
Yeah.
I was like, I wasn't looking.
There was this one point because you were holding block.
I
But
held
the-
block for most of the game.
Yeah, but at the same time, because it's tank controls, you were just like spinning on the spot without moving your legs. So you were blocking, spinning on the spot without moving your legs, and the guy was like punching you in like the back of the fucking head, and like
And I was still blocking it.
kicking you in the kidney.
No
and he was just
issue.
like blocked. It was like, mate, I don't think so. He just like stabbed you in the kidneys, smacked a pool cue around your head, and then just punched you in like the fucking pelvis or something. And it's just like blocked. It's like whilst you're spinning on the spot with no movement whatsoever. It's hilarious,
It was
man.
great. And then you had punch, kick, pick up / throw.
Yeah.
And then my favourite, the grab.
Oh, the
The
grab.
grabs
Now
were
that
great.
we spoke earlier about the grab in the film being like the original Batman. If they tried to replicate it, they did a fucking great job.
They done
Like all
a
praise to
perfect
Grey Matter
job.
Studios for doing that. We should say actually, by the way, just
Oh, yeah.
just to throw it out
So
quickly,
it is on the PlayStation 1
the
and
Sega
the
Saturn and the PC.
We should definitely have done this so we started talking about the game.
We are sorry. But
PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and PC.
Yep, and it's developed by Grey Matter Studios and it's published by Acclaim. And it's pretty clear to say Grey Matter don't exist anymore, at least not in the original form. And Acclaim still going? They're a big studio. I mean,
I feel like they're still
I
going.
very much know the name.
I mean, I've just had a quick Google and I
Yeah,
can't see that they
I think maybe they got like
Shut-
taken over by another company.
defunct.
Oh, so yeah, it's gone.
2004.
Damn.
Oh.
Maybe this was the first nail in the coffin.
Damn.
1997 is where things started to go wrong for us.
And Acclaim games have gone as well.
Yeah.
2010.
Well, there you go. So I mean, it's quite clear to say that the Crow City of Angels was the beginning of the end for Acclaim.
Are you pinning it all on this game, are you?
I think it would be very safe to say.
Yeah, it was crap.
So yeah, sorry we didn't talk about that sooner, but yeah. So I mean,
So that's that. If you do want to go and play it, that's how you can get it.
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it is hilarious. So I would recommend it.
The thing is, don't play it alone because that's just sad.
Yeah.
That is genuinely sad. But play it with a mate and have like the biggest belly laughs ever. I mean, half the time I was slapping my knee. Like I had tears by the end of the half an hour. I was just I had a whale of a time watching it, but I had at the same time there was an element to both of us that suffered from having it on the TV.
Yeah, it was great. The thing is, I was getting very frustrated, but I also found it hilarious at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't. No, I didn't know if I was hitting someone.
No, you never did.
It was awful.
No.
So, do you want me to read you out some reviews?
You know what? I would love that.
So, it was universally panned upon release.
Understandable.
The game's average user score at Games Ranking was 23.5%.
Now, that is a very specific
Yeah.
amount, isn't it?
I think they take there's user score in it, so everyone gives a score
okay.
and then it gives a overall.
Yeah. Okay.
According to GamePro,
Mm-hmm.
asinine gameplay and horrible graphics
It made the game a turkey.
made the game a turkey.
Damn.
Sega Saturn magazine. This is a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, this one stands out.
So they gave the game a 67%.
Yeah.
So above average.
Well, definitely,
You know,
definitely.
it's not the worst thing ever.
Well, the thing is, if you take proper scores into account, then 50% means it's an average game.
It's
like,
average.
It's perfectly good.
Yeah.
70% is a very good game.
Yeah, 70%.
So this is 3%
Great.
off that.
But then they commented, best avoided.
Now that makes no fucking sense, does
And
it?
then the other end of the scale, IGN, rated it
a 1
1
out of 10. Jesus, which apparently is their lowest possible score, but I would have thought 0. Do you know what I mean?
I think they have given a few zeros out.
Oh damn!
Like that truck driving game. Did you see that when you could drive through everything? It was like the truck racing game. Yeah, it's like notoriously bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they gave that a 0.
Oh, if only that had a movie, so we could play it and get it on the podcast, because that would be hysterical.
We'll just go and sit by the M25 and watch trucks drive past for half an hour.
Oh, well, the thing is, this got a 1 out of 10, and it makes me think, how bad does something really have to be to get lower? Because this is pretty bad.
This is pretty bad.
Yeah.
This is very bad.
And as we said earlier, this was also on Games Radar's 100 worst games from 2014. I don't think we know what position it actually came in, do we?
No, we don't.
No. But, I mean, the fact that it's on there anyway, I mean, tens of thousands of games have been made.
Yeah.
Even by this point. Well, maybe not tens of thousands. Thousands.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
by 97?
they were churning them out for like the SNES and the NES and
I guess so. And there's lots of kind of like underground games we didn't know of as well. So I mean, like thousands, if not tens of thousands of games, and somehow this gets on the worst 100. So I mean, it speaks volumes. Whether
and like we said, we didn't actually know this
no
when we were picking to do it.
No, not at all. So it was both a pleasant and quite disturbing surprise.
It was only once we played the game that we realised that it was on this, and then it all made sense.
It does. It does. It all ties in.
But
I'd like to say I'm looking at the cover art right now, and I love the fact that on the front it says 3D fighting with a vengeance. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're right this second seeing Stef throw a bottle at a wall and then kick some air and then throw a man 20 feet into the air onto the ground and watching him dissolve, you can quite say that, and in the midst of this, him missing most of his punches in the meantime.
Yep.
You can quite clearly say this is definitely not 3D fighting with a vengeance.
God, no.
It's 3D fighting with dysentery.
But the thing is,
that's what it is.
You compared it to Final Fight.
I think that's what they're
they want
trying to get.
Didn't Final Fight have a 3D fighting game? Or was it Streets of Rage had a 3D one?
Oh shit! Good point.
And it bombed.
You're right. That totally skipped my mind actually, but you're right. I think it was Final Fight.
Was that released before or after this?
Should we do a quick Google?
We do a quick Google.
We're going to do a quick Google because I think we need to.
Was it
determine.
Final Fight or Streets of Rage?
Try them both. Try them both. I get the point. I get the feeling it was Final Fight. But
Streetwise.
Seriously, that's what it was. Oh yeah, Wikipedia's there. Final Fight Streetwise. So
3D beat 'em up by Capcom.
Damn, 2006.
2006.
What?
Oh right, well, I'm well off. I thought it was before this.
Damn.
Let's see if Streets of Rage had one.
Sorry about this, guys, but we're trying to get kind of perspective on the Crow City of Angels because Fighting Force. Do you remember Fighting Force?
Fighting Force, that was it. 1997.
Wait, is this the one you were thinking of?
I think it was.
The thing is, I remember playing Fighting Force.
Yeah, because it was published by the same line of classics. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember actually playing it when I was.
The game was originally devised as Streets of Rage 4. That's what I'm thinking.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but Sega pulled it because they realised it was going to be crap.
Yeah, I remember playing this when I was young, and actually, I kind of like secretly really enjoyed it. But you know, when you're little, like you will play like desperately crap games and think they're wonderful.
Because, of course. Because you know nothing else.
Yeah, and your mind's like a fucking sponge, and you're easily entertained.
I'm sure if a person had just come out of a coma.
Yeah.
And they'd never seen a video game before.
I'm really interested to see where this is going. Yeah.
And I gave them this game.
Which one? The Crow.
The Crow. And I said,
I think they'd be begging to get back in that coma.
This, I said, this is the one and only video game that's ever been released.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd love it because he knows nothing else.
Well, that is true.
He doesn't know anything else. So when you're a kid,
that's a good point.
You think, what game did I play? Space Harrier 2. Loved it. You used to play it all the time.
Yes.
And you play it now. After 20 minutes, you're bored.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
that's
all I knew when I was that age.
You could drain hours into those games when you're younger, and that's the case. Like the thing is, it's clear by the ratings. Like Fighting Force was given like 3 out of 5, 7.6 out of 10, 5.5 out of 10 from IGN. I mean, it's clear that it's
done better. Yeah. And it was released in the same year. We'll just say 1997. Just same year as The Crow.
Yeah, few months afterwards. It was released in like February, April time. The Crow, this is, and Fighting Force was released like October, November of the same year, and that's for the PlayStation, by the way.
And this seems to have got a much better reception, but I still don't think it was a great reception.
No, I think it was kind of like lukewarm. I'd love to meet someone called Lukewarm.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and Bend Over. Yeah.
I don't think anyone would name their son Bend Over.
There's a porn star called Bend Over.
Is there?
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very famous porn star. I think his son. Do you remember? You know Outnumbered, don't you?
Yeah, the one with with
the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know the oldest kid, Jake.
Yeah, I think so.
Tiger Drew Honey. That's his real name, by the way.
That's his real name.
Tiger Drew Honey. His dad is Bend Over. I'm not joking. His dad is an ex-porn star called Bend Over.
Fair enough.
How brilliant is that?
Did not know that.
It's fucking brilliant, isn't it? Bend Over's son is Tiger Drew Honey. Just let that sink in a little bit. Bend Over's son is Tiger Drew Honey. Bend Over. Tiger Drew Honey. Bend Over. Tiger Drew Honey. So, The Crow.
Back to The Crow.
Yeah. So I mean, it was on another level of bad. Even for the time, it hasn't aged well, and it wasn't. It clearly wasn't received well at the time in '97.
No. You got any more notes for it?
I think we've covered most things, to be honest. The only things I would say is that we haven't quite touched on. It's clear there's poor production value, and there wasn't a lot of money in the studio.
No.
And, this is most apparent in the pre-rendered backgrounds.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Fucking awful.
If you don't mind, I'm just going to quickly Google.
I do not mind at all.
Another, 1997, yeah?
Yes.
Just to see what other PS1 games, just so I can compare.
Good point.
Symphony of the Night.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Crash Bandicoot 2.
Croc Legend of the Gobbos looked better than this.
Final Fantasy 7. Now, look,
Final Fantasy 7.
Final Fantasy 7, like
that
the
had
pre-rendered
backgrounds, 3D
and they're good.
Yeah,
they're good for the time. They look awesome.
So it is possible.
Abe's Odyssey, the first Abe's Odyssey.
Abe's Odyssey pre-rendered,
and that had some beautiful backgrounds. That like at the time, that was like a really stunning looking game. Like I mean,
like these backgrounds look like a turd.
A turd is a bloody good word.
Yeah.
I actually did a rhyme.
Oh, you did a rhyme.
I did a rhyme.
That means we can end the podcast.
Yay! So I that's awesome. So in this hour or so, I've learned how to rhyme. Oh, fantastic! Yay!
And there was much rejoicing. So, anything else, or was that it?
I think that's it for the notes, and I think that basically sums up the game. It's so shallow that
so
there's
we'll
not
just
a lot to
say
go into.
We did play it for half an hour.
Yes, we did. We managed it.
We did.
Mm.
Would you play it again?
Here's the thing, right?
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, I will play it again with you when we haven't played it for a certain amount of time. Just be like, it's been a year. Should we put on The Crow and just have a fucking laugh and have like a couple drinks?
So it was the same as what game was it? We said we'd play again if we were drunk. Oh, Goosebumps.
Yeah, Attack of the Mutant.
No, it was about watching Goosebumps, though, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Because I played that game sober.
Yeah.
But I feel the same way about watching Goosebumps. I play this again.
Yep.
100%. If we hadn't played it for a while.
Yep.
And I was drunk.
Yes, totally agreed.
And I'd never play it on my own.
In any other circumstance, no way.
God, no.
God, no.
Alcohol has to be involved, and it has to be.
You have to be in company.
You have to be in the mood for company,
Yeah.
and you have to be in the mood for it for
Yes.
just silliness.
Yes, definitely, 100%, totally agree.
But
So
Stone Cold Sober would never play it again.
no, Stone Cold Sober by yourself, no way. It's a total pass.
No.
So this is where we come on to the point. Is this franchise, The Crow, the film, and the video game, is it a cash grab? And it's an interesting one, isn't it?
It's an interesting one. I'd say that the game is a cash grab.
Yeah. Okay. And your reasons?
I mean, look at the state of it. It's so like it was so cheaply done.
Yeah, very clearly.
Like
Very clearly.
I'm sure they didn't put much time into it at all, much effort into it,
No.
much money into it.
No, it's clear there's a tiny budget, yeah.
So it was clear that, they've. I don't know. You can't say they rushed it because I don't know what the production time was in this game, but
That's true.
it feels rushed. Because I mean, the opening scene, we watched it twice, in fact, and I still had no idea what the plot was.
No, not at all.
It was only once I died that I saw someone talking that I kind of got an idea there was a plot.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
and yeah, so I'd say it was clearly rushed out, clearly no budget to it.
Yeah.
And all they want to do is make money. So I would say it's a cash grab.
Okay. The thing is, for basically the whole of this podcast, or the time we've been recording it, I was thinking, actually, I don't think it is a cash grab. But as soon as you mentioned, and you jogged my memory about the film being a, what was it called?
Slow burner? No, I don't remember what it's called.
I've forgotten what it's called. Something cellar. Cold cellar?
No, it wasn't a cold seller. That's someone that comes to your door and tries to sell you books.
That's a cold cooler.
Oh, cold cooler.
a cold cellar's like store beer in a cold cellar.
Sounds nice.
Does, doesn't it?
Cold beer.
Yeah. God. Yeah. What?
Sleeper hit.
A sleeper hit. Damn. What the fuck are we talking about?
We just want a
cold
beer.
cellar. Yeah, we do. So because it was when you kind of like jogged my memory that it's a sleeper hit, and this was something which kind of gained money, popularity, and cult acclaim way after it was in the cinema.
Yep.
When it was released into, kind of like VHS, DVD, like we were saying, then obviously, I think then, with that in mind, then this is a cash grab. Because obviously it being 3 years after, the game being released 3 years after the release of the movie in theatres, you don't think it would coincide.
Yeah.
But then, basically, what's this?
So I'm just looking at the Wikipedia page as Tom's talking, and earlier he mentioned that he looks like Sting, the wrestler. And there's a point on the Wikipedia page that says the World Championship Wrestling star Sting got inspiration for his Crow character from the movie.
Wow,
so it's the other way around.
Oh shit! So wow.
So you were right, mate, and we'll just say we didn't read this before Tom said that.
No.
So you were right.
Oh damn!
It's the other way around.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, carry on.
Oh, cheers, man. Fucking hell, pat on the back.
Yeah.
Nice. But, yeah, so I'd say this definitely is a cash grab because I don't think they had any plans of ever making a game when this was released and it wasn't particularly popular in the theatres. Then as soon as the money started raking in from sales of it being a cult hit afterwards and it kind of getting VHS sales, DVD sales, whatever, I think they thought to themselves, okay, this has clearly got a following. Now's a good time to release a game. Make one quick.
That's it, because there's no storyline to it.
No.
There's no finesse or padding or anything. Yeah. It's literally just this one thing you do.
Yeah.
You've got 3 different kicks, you've got 2 different punches, and you've got 1 throw.
And 1 headbutt.
1 headbutt. And you've got 1, and there's like a pool cue, a pipe, and a glass bottle, a dagger.
Yes. And that's about it.
And enemies sometimes have guns.
Yeah. No, I mean...
So it's so rushed.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of useless, to be honest. But, I mean, basically it's like, it's obviously just like, well, this is popular now, after its initial release. Now is the time. Now is the only time to make it. Now is the only time we can make money off the back of it making money. It's a cash grab, pure and simple. Yeah. So, initially, I was going to say, no, it's definitely not. Now, yeah, it definitely is. It's a cash grab.
Definitely is a cash grab.
So... The Crow, City of Angels, has the official...
Cash grab seal of approval.
Oh, that is nice, isn't it? We need to do a little kind of like... yeah. Awesome. Well, damn, I guess that wraps it up, man.
Yeah, I mean, who thought we'd talk this long about The Crow?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I would say, guys, honestly, if you could get a few of you together in a room,
Yep.
get a crate of beers going,
Yep.
whack this game on for half an hour, you will have fun.
Yes, you definitely
You
will.
will have
You
fun.
definitely will. So on that note, enjoy The Crow, City of Angels, and I hope you've enjoyed the podcast.
Yep.
And tune in next time. Catch you guys later.
So yeah, if you listen on SoundCloud, feel free to go to the YouTube and see the terrible gameplay.
Yes.
And remember, we got the Twitter feed up.
Oh, yeah. Follow us on Twitter.
Cash Grab Podcast.
Yeah.
Send us an email, cashgrabpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, man. Definitely
If you've got some ideas, I mean, we've got lots of games lined up, but
we do.
if you
Any suggestions are cool.
you
We're
want to
open
push
anything.
up to the top of the list, just email them and tweet them in, whatever.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right.
Yeah. And on that note, we'll catch you guys later.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.